Okay. All right. Looks like I'm live. What's going on, people? Jay the Black. You already know who it is. I don't even have to give myself introduction. So we back on another live stream, and I have a guest. This is Shirley Husar, right?
Husar, like who saw her?
Husar. Husar. Okay. She was a viewer, and she has a very interesting platform, interesting ideology, and I'm gonna let her speak about that. And first question I'll ask Shirley is about yourself and your background. So let me and the viewers know about that.
Well, hey, Jace, thank you guys so much for giving me the opportunity to speak with you and talk about urban game changers and who I am. My name is Shirley Husar. I am a conservative Republican, and I'm also a surrogate for Donald Trump for the state of California. I've been a Republican for a long time, and I've been on the front line as far as urban communities, making sure that we have an understanding of what is going on in Black urban communities specifically. Now, being in California, which I am a native of, I have found out that the illegal immigrants are getting more jobs, more opportunities, and more rights than Blacks. We are down to 6% Blacks in California. So with all those terrestrial times continue to grow in our country, and especially within California, I started Urban Game Changers. Urban Game Changers is an organization that holds elected officials accountable as well as ourselves. We are in Los Angeles, California, Texas, Louisiana, Florida, New York, Nevada, and Alabama. We are in those states with leaders who know what's going on in the urban community. But the key thing that we need to do is hold elected officials accountable and start creating legislation and solutions.
Say they're having an echo. If you have a screen on, you might have to mute. If you have like a mini screen on your computer, you might have to mute that screen. They're
Okay.
saying that there's an echo.
Sorry about that. Okay. The problem now, I can't hear you. Ooh, that's really weird.
Can you hear me?
Mini screen.
Like if you have like your chat room open, you might just mute the chat room or mute like if you're watching the stream on your computer, you might have to mute that.
Okay, hold on. Let me just kind of close all these.
Okay, but you don't have to mute your Hangouts.
Is this better?
Okay, do y'all hear? Do y'all hear? Y'all still hear
You
echo?
still hanging? Echo?
Yeah. Y'all hear echo or y'all just bullshit?
No, I hear echo too.
Is it coming from me?
Is that better?
It said it's still an echo. Let me see.
Still echo. Oh my goodness.
I think some of y'all are bullshit. From you.
It's from me.
Can you still hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, I can hear. Yeah. Stop whatever that is. I don't hear any echo anymore. Talk.
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah. Okay. Ask them if they can hear an echo.
The rapper says no. So is there no more echo? It says gone. All right, you can continue.
See, it wasn't me. It was you. Ah.
Must have been it must have been the audio that I had on in this Hangouts. I told you that's why I don't like Hangouts so much. You go ahead.
That's all good. Look, you got to think about 6% of the African Americans in California, what we're down to. In the 80s, we had 30 to 40% Black people. Black people are being ostracized. Black people are being cast out. Black people are dealing with mass incarceration and privatized prisons. Privatized prison is inhuman slavery that we have today. We talk about the 500 missing Black girls in this country. Thank God Mr. Trump had been addressing that. And one thing that he did do, he had two young African American girls who were in the White House, who they were able to address the trauma captive, and then all of a sudden being freed and having that opportunity to speak before for him. It would be great if we could get some young black brothers who have been in prison, incarcerated on crap that just does not make any sense to have a long duration. Our urban black communities are in a blight situation where the older black man is being pulled out, the black woman is becoming emasculated, and today's youth are not being able to see a balance within our own culture, and that's a problem.
Yeah, I want people to address that. Definitely the exodus of black people from black neighborhoods in California, but none of these black politicians and so-called leaders want to address this. Almost like they're afraid to, because they're gonna upset their liberal slave masters. But the next question I'm going to ask, it might be the same as this. What about the goals of the things that you're doing on social media to bring these type of situations to light?
Well, I think in any business plan, you have to look at the who, what, when, and where. Who are the people that you're trying to help? Urban communities abroad consist of different cultures of people. What is on my platform right now is, I feel, the extinct of black people, which is a separate entity, but it's still part of Urban Game Changers. And let me explain. When we think about this new administration, that Mr. Trump, when he said when he's going to get in office, he's going to make a change in the black culture. Well, we all kept saying, well, what does that really mean? He has Omarosa as the head of his command on that one. And so she took charge. She made an effort to reach out to the Urban League, the Congressional Black Caucus, the NAACP, even, interviewed with Roland Martin, all those in black media, and, went on the wave of trying to connect to those older black generational people. This is the problem. The CBC, the Congressional Black Caucus, care nothing about helping the plight of black people. The Congressional Black Caucus agenda is to help itself. How do we know that? It's because they had a first meeting with Mr. Trump. They sat back and they sent him a proposal called We Have a Lot to Lose. If you're interested in getting a copy of that, you can go to urbangamechangers@gmail.com or go to urbangamechangers.com. Email me and ask me, Shirley, can I see that proposal? The Congressional Black Caucus sent that to Mr. Trump. He reviewed it with his team, with Omarosa. They went back and said, Mr. Trump, we would really love to have a meeting with you. No, they didn't. They said, no, Mr. Trump, forget it. We don't like what we see you doing right now in the current administration, so we have nothing to do with you. If you're not going to work with the chief and commander of the President of the United States of America, who are you going to work with, Congressional Black Caucus? Why haven't you done some type of agenda to deal with the mass incarceration, the major mass incarceration, which is diminishing and devaluing the quality of the humanity of Black America? It's unhumane how the Congressional Black Caucus has acted as if they are our leaders. They're not leading anything but themselves, their own agenda, and their own pocketbooks. On top of, look up Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. This foundation has put together to say that it's helped the millennials be able to politically engage in this country more. But what it has done, my people, it has marginalized a specific group of Negroes who are been able to say, oh, I went through this program, I learned about politics, but are you spreading the information of change in urban communities, Chicago, Detroit, Los Angeles, all the illegal immigration issues that are going on in Detroit right now with the Syrians who were able to captivate off the foreclosed homes and move into your cousin and your uncle and your grandma's properties and start their own businesses with their own restaurants and their own jobs. Money's allocated to immigrants, illegal immigrants, and not the Shatta slave. We are a people that have been here for over 400 years. We are a people of young, innovative, focused, and directed on an agenda. But the Black Caucus and the NAACP they don't have any agenda for us. Yes, you're right, Jay. That older generation, that generation of elected officials who happen to be Black, care only about themselves and not us.
Yeah, it just seemed like a lot of those that are supposed to be for Black people, like the Congressional Black Caucus, they only serve non-Blacks and in their agenda. And speaking of them, I want to ask you about Black conservatives and how and a number of them are considered to be lackeys, like you would see with the Congressional Black Caucus. Tell me your opinion on Black conservatives, either as a whole or in the groups that they could be in.
When we think about the plight of Black America, it is very complex because we do have Black liberals and we have Black conservatives. We have Black liberal Republicans. We have Black conservative Republicans. We have Black liberal Democrats and Black conservative Democrats. So I think the first thing you have to do is discern what's the difference between a liberal and a conservative. And a conservative does what I say. It conserves. It basically believes in capitalism. It believes in less government. It believes in small business growth. These are the foundational tools of the Republican Party. And that's how I became a Republican. I became a Republican because I believe that we do not need to look to government and instill programs as our sole base of lifestyle and living. Many of us are subsidized on some type of form of government as well as income. And that's because it's in our DNA, in our culture, that it has been accepted that this is the way that you have to live. Well, in the Republican world, they believe that you can have a small business. You can look to OPM, other people's money. You can look to, if you want to get a small business loan, or you just want to do a joint venture with friends who have the wealth to support your ideology and your mindset. That is how a Republican thinks. The Republican was the party that gave the blacks the right to vote. The Democrats were the one that created the Ku Klux Klan. You hear Dr. Umar even says, be conscious of the fact of, at least with a Republican, you're going to see what you get. And yes, there's racist people on both sides. On the Democrats, there's Klan, and there's probably Klans on the Republican. I get that. Our agenda as of 2017 is to say, where does all that have to do with what's going on in my life? We want solutions. We need legislations to deal with the pain of the past, to deal with the future. The Republican Party understands, especially under the party of Lincoln, that the Negro slave gave a lot in his life. So that means that since we've been here for over 400 years, we've not really received our just dues. We really have not received the respect and the understanding of our ancestors. And I'm talking to, I know Black America comes in different forms and cultures and states. When people say I'm from Jamaica, I'm Black, whatever. I'm talking about the American-born, African-American-born, heritage of indigenous slave children who should be able to acquire the benefits of their great, 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 so forth, grandparents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I'm not for any political affiliation, because this last year has sort of put me off as far as political affiliations, because you've seen sort of like the bleeding over, and it just seems like, I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like a lot of these groups are in it for themselves. They're not talking community. They're not talking about what's in the best interest of their groups. It's like, what's in the best interest of me? Like you have like Maxine Warder. She's out there from the Bay Area, right? I mean, you can tell she's basically being put on a pedestal to basically be a lackey and be a mouthpiece for the DNC to do all their dirty work. But she keeps getting voted in. People like that out, And what you have with Black conservatives is that it's kind of like a rift, because you have the people who may be true conservatives, and you have the people who are maybe conservatives because it may fit them socially or financially, and that's what kind of put me off as far as when it comes to politics. But I definitely think that the DNC, the Congressional Black Caucus, the National Urban League, these people are outdated. There's no need for them.
Absolutely.
They
Absolutely.
need to be disbanded.
Look, they're not building an infrastructure. If anything, they've been tearing the infrastructure down. It makes me wonder, though, because I had recently, my niece is a runner, Michaela Ward. Look for this wonderful young runner that's growing out there. Michaela Ward's in the Junior Olympics. And we watch a lot of different movies, and we were watching the movie Race with Jesse Owens. And there was one point where the NAACP said, you don't need to do what those white people want you to do. We want you to take a stand and don't do nothing. Don't run. If he had not ran, he would not have been remembered. He would have not made history. we would not have that history of a black man that stood his ground and did what he needed to do, which was what he did best, was run. And I think that we have many of these groups I've learned over the duration of many years, 30, 40, 50 years, that have suppressed our opportunity. I believe white people, not all white people, but white people that are out there who want to help us can't help us because of people like Maxine Waters, Kamara Harris, who's not black. I saw Kamara. I said some made up black name. She's not black. She's half Jamaican, half Asian. And everybody thinks she's black. You have Karen Bass. She's not helping California. You have is it Deborah Jackson in Texas? She's not helping what's going on in Texas. Ms. Jackson. These people are dated, they're disconnected, and they're delusional on anything of someone saying, hey, I want to work with you, but I need to know your issues. That's what this administration says, and that's what we want. Mr. Trump has come up with a plan called the Urban Renewal Agenda. And I posted a little bit of information about this on urbangamechangers.com, where we talk about jobs, opportunity, and education. We need to have an infrastructure of an ecosystem of education, but we need to have it so it's economically helping us to grow our own wealth. Dr. Claude Addison talks about that, and it's important because even as much as I love Dr. Umar, I think he's brilliant in every aspect. Dr. Umar is pure, dark chocolate, no cream, no sugar. This brother's just straightforward. But we do live in a world where we do have to deal with the cream and we do have to deal with the sugar. And so how do we seem to make all this work so we can come up with a good cup of coffee? And that's people like you and me, Jay, identifying, you know what, we know there's parties that have differences, but how is that really helping me if you're going to keep me suppressed, Maxine Waters? It doesn't. We do need to vote them out. But the problem with California, remember, we're 6% black people. The Mexicans, she helping them out. She ain't helping us.
Right. She's taking money wherever it comes, and it ain't coming from black people because if people there in the Bay Area, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of.
No, she's in Los Angeles. She's not in the Bay Area. She's in the area of Inglewood and that district over there.
Okay. So she's right in the thick of the. She's in the thick of the mass immigration that's going on down there. That's going to lead me to my next question about Donald Trump. But first, I want to talk about immigration and the issues that are going on in Southern California when it comes to this immigration issue. That people, but I seen a poll, Shirley, and they were saying that blacks are more against the wall being built than Mexicans are. So let's talk about immigration for a second in Southern California.
Well, as in opposed to what? In conjunction to what? I mean, the wall or just as a whole?
I want to focus on immigration from Mexico and South America first, and then overall.
When living in California, I mean, I'm a native, just to let you guys know how well I'm versed and know on California. I'm a native. I'm born and raised. My children are grown. Born and raised Southern California. Love this state. I was one of the kids that were bused to the valley. Went to middle high school, junior high school. Our family went to Canoga Park and Manual Arts. Manual Arts used to be a prominent black school, which is now all Latino. The Latino community have taken over the small businesses, commercial businesses in Los Angeles. They have no regulation. They're able to set up little huts and sell tacos and sell those hot dogs with the onions and the pork wrapped around it with no sanitation. There's an issue dealing with hepatitis A with the illegals, and nobody wants to talk about it. I wrote an article for the Community Digital News, California Looming, if you guys want to know more information about the immigration issue and how they're coming here. Now, the Justice Department said as of June 30th that there were 9 recipient cities and states and counties. And California has been the only one where they said the entire state has been now being regulated. They're being regulated right now because they went into place. What does that mean? That means at any point the Justice Department could bring in the SWAT team. They could bring in armed forces to suppress these people. They're not helping black people. That's why we at 6%. There were many people out there who were on the front line many years ago trying to warn us These people aren't helping Black communities. We are the only culture of people that when anyone comes here and migrates, we're warm and we're welcoming, and they come to our communities because we accept them. Instead, they destroyed our communities. When the Jewish people came here, we warmed them and they welcomed us. When Martin Luther King marched, he marched with the Jews because they remembered that. The illegal immigrants think that they're better than us. The El Salvadorans, the Guadalajarans, and they are going to build that wall. Now, I don't know what survey you read, but the survey that we live in, that I can tell you the Blacks who are here, quiet as it's kept, are happy that wall is being built. We happy that wall is being built. We need that wall being built because these people are destroying our people. The Black women in this state don't even have Black men that they can start dating. They dating these illegals and these Mexican men, and the Black men don't even value. There was a sister, I don't know if y'all saw that video circulating on Facebook where she was in Vegas, had a good time, went to a Chris Brown concert, got out and said, the Black men don't want to dance with me. She said, they don't want me. And she's crying. And I'm just like, because the face of America is a KK world, a Kim Kardashian world, or a Mexican girl who had a lot of surgery, or a light-skinned sister who keeps adding more light cream to her face, like Wendy Williams. She's going to be a white woman by the end of the season. I mean, these are the kind of things. No, I'm just telling you, if you're chocolate like me, dipped and loved and a lot of good stuff going on here, they don't want that because then you're intimidated by the real melon people. The real melon people have a voice. The real melon people are in your face. We are in your face telling you real truths. And because of that, there's a hold off, there's a back off, and a brother finds that to be intimidating as a woman, and a Black woman can't find a strong Black man because he's metrosexual, masculated, with all these Hollywood notions that every Black man likes to have some sausages every day versus having a good piece of chocolate pie of a female. I mean, these are the things that are being portrayed in California, the homosexual issue, the metrosexual issue, Black women who say, I can't find a man, I might as well look like one. How you doing, my sister, with the tongue ring on her tongue looking at you? You're like, what the hell is this? That's what I'm telling you. This is where Black America has gone from. We don't have families like we used to. A good ma, a good grandma, a little auntie. I had a great auntie, Aunt Maddie, God bless her soul. She was born in 1918 and she lived to be almost 100. Her mother lived to be 108. We would go to her house and we do like that movie Soul Food. We would cook, we would talk, we would laugh, and then my uncle was there, my father was engaged. But now we live in a state where illegal immigrants have torn our Black families apart. They've taken our hustle jobs. We always had a little job. We could hustle here and there. You can't do that. The Mexicans don't hire Black people. So when you tell me surveys that say, hey, well, the Blacks support them, that's a lie. That's fake freaking news, my brother.
Well, it was a video, so I didn't go looking for it. Okay. It was a video that it was on my recommends. I checked it out, and they were talking about that. I guess it fit their point, but you got to understand, Shirley, there are Black people who are speaking out against the travel ban by Donald Trump. You do know that?
Oh, I know that. That's because they smoke synthetic weed. See, smoking that synthetic weed. Oh, no, seriously. They smoking that synthetic weed because if you had some real good weed, it'll open your eyes and tell you need to know the reality, my brother, that you so focusing on the ban, you need to be focusing on the mass incarceration. You so focusing on the illegals having rights. You got to realize that illegal wants your house like them people did in Syria. You have to think about things pertaining your life versus trying to protect people who are trying to fight to take your right and to operate under the Constitution and the civil rights movement. Jaye, downtown LA, the illegal immigrants were singing, "We shall overcome." Excuse me, but what the fuck you trying to overcome? Your ass came here for fucking free? You look like roaches with all them damn kids you have. You compensating half of it on income and half of it on the government. That's why I can't wait for the federal government. You don't know white America. Illegal immigrant, let me help you out. White America got two heads. He act like he your friend, and on the other hand, he's a vapor. He's a viper. Look at the Azusees. Look at the Blacks. Look at the Indians. He gonna get tired of you, and he's already tired of you. That's why they gonna build a wall. So all you Black people are helping these people. All you are is detrimental to Black America. and focusing on, well, I don't like his band. I don't care, ban them all. Shit, give me how much you want? $1 a brick. I can get about $5,000 right now, and people give a brick, $1 to put that wall up tomorrow. What we need to do is be focusing on having an agenda while this administration said it was going to do all this stuff for us and put the legislation together. But we have to be conscious of the illegal immigrant who is riding on the backs of our ancestors, riding on the backs of our inheritance. How can some illegal immigrants sing the national anthem as a chant march for their cause? How can illegal immigrants and those who are liberals support the fact they're going to stand on the line to my Black Lives Matter? You don't give a shit about Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is taken over by people who don't give a crap about us. There are people up there saying Black Lives Matter. Oh, by the way, you want to buy a pencil? Black Lives Matter. Hey, I got some great water. They use that as an intro to tap into a pain to get their agenda. They use Black lives issues as our pain to tap into your agenda, and we don't say nothing back. Screw them people and tell them people to go back on that under that ground and take their little 12,000 children they done had with them. That to me, they're illegal just as much as their parents are.
Mm-hmm.
So there's my
let's see. That's why I can't stand a lot of black people with this liberal mindset that we need to accept everybody, because everybody shouldn't be accepted, you know?
No, everybody.
But on my next,
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah. The next question is going to be about black people in the DNC and how the DNC has such a strong control over the mindset of black people, young and old, seemingly. What are your thoughts on that?
As far as the DNC and their mindset over us?
Voting for them, and anybody who's Republican is racist, you know, that particular mindset.
I think the key thing that the DNC has done well is they've been there. And I think where the Republicans have failed is that they're not there. So there is no other option that has been given for black youth or black millennials or libertarians to look at from a perspective of who's really caring about the culture. What Democrats have done well is they have created a mindset as if they're the only ones that care. And then we say, well, what we get out of it? Because to me, life is about reciprocity, my brother. And if you get people who ain't got nothing to give you, but they're good in the way of taking it from you, you keep waiting for it to happen. The Democrat Party has treated us like Charlie Brown. We walk in that door, trick or treat. Everybody else got candy. Here comes the black people. Trick or treat. We get a rock. Next house. Trick or treat. We get a rock. We get a rock. We get a rock. Now they don't even give us the rock. They throw the rock upside our head and laugh. We got video cameras showing the rocks being thrown at us. They don't care. They still throw the rocks at our head. Or they do a Charlie Brown Lucy. They give you all these promises and notions, and here's the ball, black youth, millennials, let's vote for Hillary, let's vote for the DNC, let's vote for more governmental programs. And they hold that football in front of you, and you're excited. And you run down that track, and you about to kick it, and they pull it back. Oh, no, hell no, nigga, you ain't gonna get that. That's what they said. That's what they said. That's what they saying right now. You ain't gonna get that. So why has millennials woken up? Because A, social media has had people like me and you have a voice. B, they're smart enough to start researching, saying, wait a minute, you didn't play this Lucy Charlie Brown game too long for my grandmothers, my grandpa. I ain't getting nothing out of it. My uncle's in jail, my cousin's in jail, my sister's a lesbian, the family's disconnected, we ain't got no housing, and you just give us crumbs off the table. I mean, come on now, you know that is the reality of our culture. So yes, we have been deluded by the Democrats in the sense, but yes, they've done an excellent job of getting their horrible message, and we've been eating the wolf cookies.
Yeah, Sheila, a couple sisters in the chat room want me to ask you, have you ever dated a white man?
Have I ever dated a white man?
They keep asking.
They want to. Have I dated a white man? Yes, I've dated a white man. I've dated a black man. I have 3 sons. My father's black. My uncle's black. Yes, that is the question.
Okay. Yeah, keep asking me, so I'll just say I'll ask you.
Does that matter? Yeah. Go ahead.
No, because I got a lot of pro-blacks, Sub to my channel.
Well, God bless white America. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. Let's see. What's the next one? Okay. What are your thoughts on the current state of the black community as far as, because I talk about this a lot, Shirley.
Yes.
What's going on in black communities when people come at me for calling out a Colin Kaepernick? I tell them, well, listen, you don't call out black pastors who are taking money out of communities. You don't call out the foreigners who have set up shop in your community, who mistreat the people in your community. I mean, I can't tell you how many videos I've seen of foreigners mistreating black people in their own neighborhood. So let me ask you about the current state of the black community.
The current state of black community in each state is totally different. When we deal with Detroit, we're dealing with brutality nationwide is a given. We know that's there. The dysfunction of the family, we know that's given. And the economic breakdown of no wealth being developed within the community is the foundational problem. So if you want to say that on a national, yes, that is our issue. Economically, we don't start small businesses. We don't think about SBA small business loans or either other people's money. How do we get money? When the illegals come here, they're able to acquire money towards their cause. When the immigrants come here, they're able to come with a certain tax bracket breaks. These things are a negative against our community. So it makes it harder for us in every aspect. The more of them, the more suppressed we are. The more suppressed we are. So people want to know why we're so suppressed, because all these new creatures in the community that we like, they're our friends, they're nice. I'm glad you like them and I'm glad they're nice, but they are not helping your culture of people.
And that's what I've seen. It's like our community's in shambles. There's no men in the homes. Foreigners are setting up shop in these communities. The religious leaders, quote unquote, don't give a fuck because you got a church on every corner. So there's plenty of churches, there's plenty of pastors, there's plenty of religious people, but they can't put their money together to start businesses, to buy property. They keep their churches up though, but they don't look at the other parts of these communities and say, you know what, these are my people, I need to help them. But no one holds those people accountable. I never understood those people accountable.
Well, I think when it comes to the pastors, they're concerned about their 501(c), which Mr. Trump recently just signed a law into place saying that you will not lose your tax exemption if you decide to talk about the political plight of America. And a lot of people don't know that that law has just been signed. There's a lot of things that the Trump administration are doing that are good for black people. For example, if you have a felon, but you apply for a job that it doesn't pertain the felon of which you were given it for. If you got a felon for, I don't know, a moving violation you didn't pay and you went to jail and it just kept escalating, or some type of felon that has nothing to do with you working at a bank. You've not sold anything from the bank, but it was a felon in another arena. Under this administration, there's a new law that just passed, so that allows you as a felon to be able to get a job. So you can research out that. We're going to be developing a list of things that under this administration that we've been able to see a change within our community. If we don't wake up as people, Jay, and start saying, what am I going to get out of this? I know these ministers, they got their agenda because they want to keep their checks coming in. They want to keep you praising Jesus, feeling broken, poor. But my question to you, my people, is you realize that you're in America. You can call it white, black, Chinese, any kind of what kind of America you want to call it. But we live here. We put our time in here. We put our roots and our grass and our substance and our grandparents and our great-great-great-great-grandparents in this ground. What we're going to get out of it is we need to create legislation and be focused. We cannot focus on the people who have failed us, which the church, yes, Jay, have failed us. The elected officials that are black, yes, they have failed us. Black organizations, yes, they have failed us. But we as a collective need to start thinking of things that put into law, into place that are going to affect our community now. We need to make sure that we have a protective right, just as the Indians have a protective right, just as the Jewish community have a protective right, just as well as even the veterans. And you say, how can you compare blacks to veterans? Because the veterans are servitude. God bless the men and women who have served this country because they have given their life in servitude. Did not our great and further back 400 years gave their life in servitude? Should we not even receive a benefit structure in the same manner? Absolutely. But we do not plead our case. We do not bring intellectual blacks like me and Jay are on this platform together. All we do is have black people out there saying they're part of the conscious community, and that conscious community don't have no solutions. That conscious community has marginal thinking. That conscious community is educated. What the hell is educated, Negro? I'm glad you got a degree. I'm glad you were able to get down that hat and toss to the side. Get your ass on the street and start seeing what educational Negroes got today, working at Walmart, can't get a job, Mexican coming here, can't even speak English, getting a better job than you are. What all that education gets you? Nothing. You need legislation and protection of a class of people to move forward. And that's why we're working at our Urban Game Changers and abroad with people like you and me, Jay.
Yeah. A quick, also, I want to ask you about reparations. Do you think blacks should get reparations?
Absolutely. Because we are, again, a protected class of people that have been forgotten and lost. And it may not be in the term of retribution that we talked about in the past, but it is in the way of we need to think about mass incarceration, my tongue tied. Think about mass incarceration of black men who are being targeted from the school to the grave. I mean, there's just certain things dealing with Margaret Sanger, who was good friends and mentors to Hillary Clinton. Robert Byrd, who's good friends and best friends with Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, who passed away, was a senator who was a top Ku Klux Klan. See, we support people who are part of regimes that work against our people. And see, the Klan didn't want us to have anything. And Margaret Sanger didn't even want us to reproduce so that we will keep growing as a people. Remember, we are a byproduct. We were brought here not in the form of, we're all immigrants. Black people are not immigrants. We are people who are brought here as a commodity. We are the best of anything in this world. If you did a DNA, you ain't going to see all that African stuff inside of you. You are the best of the best. Black people die so that you can have a better life, Negro, on the other side. But you devalue yourself, and you so worried about who's with who and who's sleeping with who and all that social media madness. And you need to look deep inside yourself and know the roots of your DNA. Because you ain't all black. You could have European, you could have Chinese. You might want to do an Ancestry.com or a DNA to determine the wealth and the depth of your blood gene line that's in you. So then you won't be so pro this, pro that. You need to realize that as oppressed of Black American, we are a culture that was brought here. They bred us. We have so many amazing, fabulous history and cultures within us that we've identified and said, we're Black. But it takes a lot to make Black. Black is strong, it's beautiful, it's brilliant. But unfortunately, we live in an administration that is not being able to be penetrated in a way that we can say, this is what we want, because we're not asking. We are not asking for the true rights and benefits that we need to be acquiring. That's why when Mr. Trump said he started the urban renewal agenda, and Omarosa said she's going to encourage that and set it forth, she did protocol, she supported, and she went behind the CBC, giving them an opportunity. I did an incredible detailed video on my YouTube channel. Go join, subscribe, please, to my YouTube channel and watch the Congressional Black Caucus and see how they are disbanding us from even asking of something of that notion, Jay. Yes, we are people that deserve everything that should be given to us, and unfortunately, we're not.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me get your opinion on Black men in their place in society right now. They're not doing too strongly, especially when it comes to we're looking at a lot of the families, the way these children are being raised now. It just seems like everywhere Black men are, they don't really have anybody behind them. Really, it's almost like they're standing alone and they still don't know what to do. So it's like, what is your opinion on Black men currently, the state of Black men?
The current state of Black men right now is it's systematically being oppressed. We talked about mass incarceration, but let's say a brother were to get out of prison and go back to his baby's mama. He wants to go back and be the man of the house. He can't, because the Democrats and the governmental programs that have been set aside to subsidize because his lack of being there has stated very clearly that if a black man or a man comes back into a household that's receiving government funds, they will be cut off. And it also because of his role of being that shack, that strong black man. I ain't talking about that emasculated weak brother. I don't like them emasculated kind of milk toast kind of brother, lip dick kind of brother. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about a brother that can take charge out of a respect for a sister, who understands what a beautiful black woman does and what she adds value to the table. We need more of those men to shine. And unfortunately, when we think about a large percentage of us, we're not that way, because systematically it's broken down to keep us divided and to keep us suppressed and eventually dilute us to the point that we're non-existent. What can we do to change that? Create legislation to protect that sperm, protect that male gene, and also have black men continue who are doing well, be good front runners, because there's a lot of great black men out there, and we can't beat up every black man that's out there who are trying. Because, I would say to you, sister, what a brother's trying, work with him. You're going to work with him because the system is not allowing him not only not to get a job, but is allowing you to get a check so you don't have him in your house. There are ways that are being pushed out. He's getting pushed out from every aspect. And I think if we start identifying as women that the most suppressed and attacked DNA being is the black male. Yes, the black female has always had an opportunity, but the black male is the one that we need to elevate as our kings to come back and be strong in this country.
And I see us as black men making strides. I think we're kind of trying to, especially us as younger black men, because I'm still in my 20s, we're kind of trying to make up for the black men older than us, like the 70s babies,
Yeah.
Like the guys who grew up during the start of the Section 8 welfare boom. We're sort of, and also the crack epidemic, you had people without fathers and without mothers. And we're sort of making up for those men who weren't in those children's lives, didn't build anything. They sort of, they didn't really, not all, but in certain instances, you have men who didn't really care about building anything. So now it's left to us, the younger millennial type generation, to build something and to sort of be leaders. It's all on our shoulders now,
It is, but you're not alone. There's people like me who are not a millennial, who have millennial, who get it.
Right.
And I think the problem of it is that you've had people like Maxine Waters. I think we got an echo coming back. I don't know where the sound came from, how it changed.
Is it me?
I didn't change it.
Let me see if
Okay, I don't hear it anymore.
You don't?
Yeah, I saw. It is a lot of pressure on you guys, because you guys are the more intellectual ones. You're able to put the puzzles together faster because of social media. If I got the top right part of the puzzle and a person has the bottom right part of the puzzle, and many of you put these pieces together quickly, you're able to come up with a solution or truth answer, meaning that we got real truth serum and you guys have been feeding us wolf tickets, telling us all this stuff, but we know the real truth because I've been able to find like-minded people like me and you on social media and platforms that make a lot of sense. Because when we go into urban communities, we find that this is other things that are going on right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I feel like I said, man. You do have women such as yourself who understand our plight and what we are trying to do and what we're left with, and us trying to rebuild or restart something that could benefit us in the long run. Because it does get tiring when you always have to look to non-black people for financial opportunities. That's why I'm a big proponent of self-employment or learning skills that can benefit you from the long haul, And that's one of the benefits I think that a lot of us have now with social media. And it's really helped us connect with people and learn and be able to use our skills, whether it not be maybe physical labor skills, but mental and verbal skills, creativity,
I agree with that, but I will say that there are white people who want to help us financially. So why would you not take their money? I mean, it's not about white or black money. Money is green. The question is it good money or is it bad money? Because all money ain't good money. So I don't really base it on, I'm just going to take this money from this black brother versus this white person, because the brother's money might be crooked. I just know whoever money I get to, that if there's a servitude of, okay, I'm going to pay you back, all is based on, on contractual agreements. We have to start thinking more global. We need to start thinking more business. We need to start thinking about contractually reading contracts, understanding where they stand and where we stand, and realize that there are cultural people that want to help us and that we should not suppress that, but we still need to help our own as well.
Yeah, that's why there's like another thing. Sorry, somebody said in the comments said that you got to get rid of the immigrants in order to give black men opportunities. Do you believe that? Do you think that by lessening the immigrants coming into this country, it's going to help black people or help black men?
I think there's a combination of both. Yes, I agree with that. I agree that if we have less of the immigrants who continue to think they have more rights, and again, I told you earlier, they're riding on the backs of blacks. They're using civil rights laws and legislation to ask as if they are part of that. They're in a struggle situation. The only thing they struggled is they hustled their ass over a border for free and got a check and dropped a whole bunch of babies. That's what they did. Well, our people have a sense of servitude and indigenous slaves who came here and added value and real substance to this country. These are unskilled workers. You have to understand, we are protecting unskilled labor people who hate us and dislike us. So no, we shouldn't be helping these people. They ain't doing nothing for us. With black men, the issue is they are suppressed by the systematic ways in this country, mass incarceration that has created privatized prisons. What does that mean? That means that these prisons have a certain quota that they need to make every year to make their numbers for their shareholders. So those shareholders say, hey, you didn't make that quota. So what we going to do? We're going to incarcerate more you Negroes on bull crap and keep you going in. Someone needs to talk about this human trafficking because that has hurt Black America. And illegal immigrants are able to ride off of that factor because there's less of us and more of them that come into our community, suppress our community, and cause fear among ourselves and among those who come here legally as well as illegally.
Right. Like the thing is, I don't have a problem with people coming to this country, but if process of vetting, then you need to respect that process. Because I couldn't go into China, freely, or go into Russia freely, or go into let's see, even Brazil. I probably couldn't go into that country without going through the right or becoming a citizen through the right paperwork. And
you can't even do it in Mexico. If you go to One America and you look at One American News Network, go there, go on YouTube, you guys. You'll find this website, and they'll tell you about how they have certain laws and statutes in Mexico where they're trying to push the people from Guadalajara. They're letting them stay there, but they're going against the Brazilian blacks that are coming over there and saying, if you're not here, you need to get out. Well, they're enforcing their laws, but they won't work in conjunction with ours to enforce ours. It's a hot mess. Hot freaking mess.
Yeah. Right in the chat room. I want to go into another question, Shirley. What are your thoughts on affirmative action? Do you think affirmative action benefits Black women more than anybody else, or do you think that because they're saying that it benefits white women? Like, what is your thoughts on affirmative action?
I think affirmative action has been taken hostage. I think that everybody claiming they got affirmative action. You got people who are here who are the gays. Sorry about that. The gays have said they got affirmative action. The white women got affirmative action. Transgenders, bisexuals, everybody got affirmative action. I told you they use you as a stepping backboard to land off of. Affirmative action was created for one thing: Black people, a suppressed class of people. It's very clear. People who have indigenous slaves who were supposed to receive the benefits. Let me tell you, millennials, why old Black people who screwed up. I believe they got a check, and I believe they're throwing you under the bus. You ain't nothing but bus Negroes. You ain't on the front or the back. You under the bus. And the reason why you under the bus is they gonna make sure they gonna keep them a seat inside. They ain't trying to help you. They don't give a crap about no freaking millennial. The Black Democrats in California are helping illegals and working with De Leon and Governor Brown to create more taxes and suppress upon the people than to help the issues of dealing with the failure of the black community. So yes, we do need special. I told you, we are a specific class of people that have been given certain rights and benefits, but they have been marginalized and massaged, and we've been sodomized. And I'm telling you why, because they want to get something out of it, and we've not spoken up against it. Now, if you were to do this to the Jewish community, it'd be another story. I had a debate with one of my family members over Dr. Umar saying, well, you know, Dr. Umar don't believe that black men should marry outside their race. Black women should marry outside their race. And that's racist. Woo, 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 woo. I said, okay, hold up. Hold up. Because we got family members that did that. And I understand that. I ain't got no problem with that. But there are people who do. But let me make this clear to you. The Jews don't do it either. Orthodox Jews do not marry outside of their community. And if they do, it's very rare. That means Drake's around. But they consider the mother that has the child Jewish. If it was the other way around, if Drake's mother was black and the father was Jewish, the child wouldn't be considered Jewish. But they consider the mother because it was conceived from a female. Now, I was told this from an Orthodox Jew. I've got Jewish friends. So I'm not just making this up in my head. And so they are very specific on childbirth, on what they eat, on what they spend. Come on now. Now, if the Jews can do that, and the Indians are trying to make sure that they marry within their country, American Indian, not India, Indians. Why can't black people do the same if they want to? If they want to. They don't, it's cool, that's their thing. But if they want to, why would we suppress a brother who mentions that and then say, oh, that's racist? I mean, they also quick to drop that word out of your mouth. You ain't nothing but a racist. I would say, Negro, do your damn homework and see what other people get, what you got. You ain't got nothing. Talking a whole bunch of crap, worrying about white and black. You need to be thinking about, what the heck am I going to get out of this?
See, the thing is, though, like, I got hired because I was black, you know?
Right.
I would hate to be hired like that, but there are people, mostly black women, who get hired. There's not a business where there's not a bunch of, like, and no matter what, it could be an office job, it could be insurance. You can tell she's not that qualified.
Right.
And you know she's only there because they need a few blacks. And they're not going to hire black men because they're more comfortable with black women. No, my thing is this, some black women complaining about affirmative action. I'm like, well, you benefited more than anybody. You're a double minority. You can include, anybody as a double minority, gays. But from what I have seen, affirmative action, they're just hiring a couple of blacks, especially black women, in order to fit that quota. And you're hiring unqualified people, which keeps a cycle of people coming in and out of those particular businesses.
No, I agree with you. The black women have been able to benefit because there's an underlying demon that is out there, and that's that of suppression of the black male and the black sperm and the black gene. Because if you kill off the male, you kill off a culture of people. If you devalue the male, you devalue a culture of people. You emasculate the male, you create a culture of weak, limp dick, I'm sorry, I mean, we mean like that, of black males. I believe that there's an agenda regarding that. But when we talk about, rights and acts that are there, we as a people need to break down what affirmative action really means and how it affects us today versus then. Because we thought at one point we wasn't going to need affirmative actions, but we do because the illegal immigrants have come over here like roaches, El Salvador and Guadalajara, setting up businesses without license and without permits, dirtying our communities, taking over our small businesses. I'm not making this up. And if someone says, well, you're being offensive or rude, I'm telling you, these are the things that have suppressed black people. Even the Syrians. If it wasn't for Trump, Hillary Clinton was going to let all them Syrians move masks in here. And where are they going to move to? Are they going to move to the white suburbs? No. They're going to move into your neighborhood. And they already told you, you ain't nothing but an animal. You ain't nothing. You a loser, millennial. They're going to take over your aunt and your grandma's property and claim racism and walk over and take it over. And you going to allow that? So come on.
Mm-hmm.
The crime bill needs to be addressed right now in this country. The crime bill that was created under the Clinton administration, where Michelle Alexander, God bless her, created the notion of people being able to understand more of an awareness of that new Jim Crow. That new Jim Crow ain't nothing to play with, because if everything stems back to the core of that, and if we can deal with the Jim Crow core issue, then we can deal with all these new laws that they say are written for protection of us, but instead they're written in a way that's supposed to protect us, where other people are able to bounce off of us.
Right. When people try to debate me on Hillary Clinton would have been a better president, then I say, what about the crime bill that she endorsed? They never can address that.
No, they never can. They can't. She had so many issues on that campaign trail that just didn't make any sense. The crime bill was one of them. Mary Jaye's calling her mama, hey, mama, and she says, hey, I got me some hot sauce in my purse. I mean, she's a good smiling, grinning Southern woman. That's all she wanted, is to smile and grin. She really never connected with millennials. She wanted them old black people to keep you millennials suppressed and stupid. Millennials are fucking stupid to her. She don't care about no millennials. What she cares about is her agenda to do what she wants with this country and to utilize your ancestry's pain for her pleasure. So that's why they created the crime bill. The crime bill was created in the Clinton administration. You should look that bill up. That has created mass incarceration for black men, and has been devastated and emasculated now the black woman. Black women who are lesbian, I got your back. I ain't got no man. I got this. She gonna come up in your face like some Bush. That's because of the Clintons, who have now put black women in that same category. So now if a strong black woman like myself approaches someone, you think I'm partly emasculated, because the mindset of the way this country was founded under that administration. They did horrible things for black people. They didn't help us. They suppressed us, and they've got us in the state that we are now. We have to look at the administration that's there. We're on this ship together, people. We're on this plane together. And I don't care if you don't like Trump. You're going to have to say, what can I get out of Trump? What can demand from Trump? What can I say we are in need of from Trump? You need to be tweeting and talking to Omarosa. You need to be saying, we need that new agenda that you keep talking about. Where is it? What am I going to get out of this to help my family? Because it's not about them. It's about us. Isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Speaking of that takes me to my next question. What are your thoughts on mass incarceration? That bill that Bill Clinton introduced in the 90s definitely went to that mass incarceration. It contributed to it, definitely. So what are your thoughts on mass incarceration?
Like I said previously, I've been saying over and over through the duration of this opportunity you've given me, mass incarceration has caused the suppression of a culture of people. We are on the verge of extinction because we are a targeted culture of people. When you look at the homelessness that has come out of mass incarceration of black men in America, when we look at joblessness of the illegal immigrants that won't hire a black male because of their records of mass incarceration, it has become the DNA of the black male and black female. What do you mean the DNA? I mean, if you happen to find someone that don't have some type of record or 1 degree away from a family member that didn't, that's a rare cause, because they are targeting millennials to be part of that DNA structure that is created in the American system. Now, in order to change that, we need legislation. We need us to come together and create a proposal and create a proposition and create conversations like me and you are having, and pinpoint the issues down of the mass incarceration, of the crime bill, of the destroyed black family. If we had strong black real chocolate shack kind of brothers in our community like we used to, them illegals and them immigrants would not want to deal with us, and they would back the hell away out of our community. Mass incarceration has pulled the strength and the coattails out of the black culture. We're like a dress with no lining.
Yeah, and I never hear these Black Lives Matter. None of these people incarceration from the viewpoint of who actually signed the bill into law. What they do is they lump all white people with the bill and then say, well, Republicans are racist. They don't like or accept black people. They want black people incarcerated. And look at what Jeff Sessions is doing. But they never talk about the fact that if Jeff Sessions is pushing for harsher sentencing, it comes that crime bill that was signed by a Democratic president. They don't want to speak on that. That's the one thing I don't understand.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I totally agree with you on that. And they're all scared of Jeff Sessions, which they should be. Because if you're not going to be a law-abiding citizen, then you're failing yourself. If we want to look at black and mass incarcerated or black men killing black on black crime, I want to talk about that a little bit. Black on black crime, when I hear white people come to me and they say, Shirley, why do you guys kill each other? Why do you guys not police your communities? Why do you guys allow these gangbangers to control your communities? I said, first of all, I don't allow any of that. Neither do any of the middle-aged, black, or millennials allow any of that. The government allows it. We are not in a country that should be unregulated, but we do. They don't regulate those communities. They don't govern or police those communities. They expect us to do it. Why would I take my ass and go between two semi-automatic weapon guns or whatever kind of guns they have? Why would I do that? That's not my job. Why shouldn't I be able to pick up the police and they get there in 10 or 15 minutes instead of saying, like in Detroit about 4 or 5 years ago, there's a YouTube video where the chief of police said, look, we can't come to your neighborhood at night. You best to get the gun. That's why I love Texas and states that believe in the right to bear arms, because brothers can do open carry, where in California you can't. And you know why you can't, millennials? Do you know why you can't do open carry in California? Because the Black Panthers were bold enough to have a gun, and they had a bunch of them march to Sacramento wanting embetterment because of the unhumane acts that were taking place upon us in Los Angeles and Oakland. And so Ronald Reagan, who was a Republican, who was governor at the time, said, oh, we can't have these Negroes march up in here with these guns. We'll just suppress the facts that you can't do open carries, but you can have carry. And since that time frame, it started from a conservative Republican that took guns away from California to the liberals who wouldn't want to let you even have a rock in your pocket. All those things come back to black on black crime, and then tell us that we need to regulate our communities. No, we don't. We need to go down, call your police department. This is what you do. When you know there's a whole bunch of crime in your community, you call the police department and you say, listen, I want you to do this. Write this down. I want you to tell them, I want to speak to my watch commander. And they're going to say, who is this? You give them your name. You got nothing to be ashamed about. My name is Joe Brown. And I want to speak to the watch commander. He picks up the phone. He's the man who's in charge. I have concerns about my community, Mr. Watch Commander, because currently right now, these two young black men are out in front of my yard, and they're about to have this nasty fight, and I want to know why you guys aren't here. And then they say, oh, don't worry, man, we'll send somebody. You call them back 15 minutes later and say, why aren't you here? It has been 15 minutes. Well, man, we're busy. I know you're busy, but you're undermanned, and you're not helping us. And if you're not going to help us, we need martial law to come into this community and stop all this killings and gun waving in the videos and stuff of young black people. It is not our job to man or govern or commune in legal protection of our own people in our own community. It is up to the government because we are tax-paying, abiding citizens. Think about it, millennials. Think about it. Stop letting these people come up to you telling you, oh, y'all need to stop doing all this. We ain't the one doing it. If you are a good law-abiding citizen, I don't know, if Pookie or Laquita got her gun and that's your homie, I get it. But on the other side, you like deep inside, like, there's some bullshit going on. I just don't want to see no more of this. You should expect the police to do their job, but you don't see them because you're not going to the police saying, I pay my taxes. I'm a good person. My grandma's been in this community. My father's been in this community for years. Why are you not helping us? I want to know that. So that comes down to local police. And if local police do not do their jobs, let me tell you what they will do is you get martial law, and that's where Jeff Sessions comes in. Let me tell you about the police in L.A. The police in L.A., this is the 411, many of you guys who are in California, you may not get this news. But the police in LA right now, some of them are not working in conjunction with President Trump. They are right now holding guns and arms from illegal immigrants. Recently, a police officer was arrested, okay, for harvesting weapons of illegal immigrants in his home. I ain't talking about 2 or 3 guns, thousands of guns in his home, his personal possessions that he acquired as a police officer. On top of it, they are screwing the cadets. They ain't hiring no black cops, they hiring Latino cops. They don't have that many white cops. The police officers in the state of California are Latino. They're illegal immigrant children now running this state. De Leon is an elected official who is a child of illegal immigrants. And they are working with conjunction of the MS-13 that nobody gonna talk to you about. So yes, they're gonna build that wall, and yes, it's gonna be tall, and yes, in time, you might see martial law in your community because your local, state, and elected officials aren't trying to protect you. And you're going to have to see Armageddon happen. Just don't be caught in the crossfire. That's all I can tell you. Because many of us could be in a situation, we in a damn crossfire, and we don't need to be. Don't get caught up in the crossfire, boo-boo. Find a back door and slit your way out of that. But don't sit back and say, I'm going to fight for a cause of a bunch of people that ain't doing crap for you. Oh, hell no. They got to go, and the police are doing things to keep us suppressed as a culture of people. And we need to be conscious of that because there are good police who are trapped. Good police officers. Everybody ain't bad, but the good police officers are the ones getting taken out from the crooked cops. And it's just a hot mess. It really is.
Yeah, that's why, people are saying how, you got a couple of people in the chat room who are from California. They said Southern California has been flooded with illegals. And I just want to say, no dissing the guests. If you diss any of the guests who come on my platform, you're going to get timed out. Okay? I know that off top. Platforms, they don't allow people to diss me. Moderator, somebody who watches my content, get your asses out of here. Okay. But yeah, people are saying in the chat room how Southern California is flooded with illegal immigrants. They're saying how it's pretty much over in Southern California.
As far as what is over? What do you mean?
Like it's like little Mexico.
Oh yeah, it is. I mean, I grew up on 39th in Vermont, and it used to have a plethora of black people with black communities and businesses. Again, we're going back to the ecosystem of our economic foundation has been disrupted and torn apart to the point that if you are black trying to start a business, you really don't have anybody to sell to. You're marginalized. And if anything, look, you come to California, the Mexicans cook Italian food, soul food. They got Mexicans in Crenshaw, y'all, that started their own soul food restaurant. You can look up Mexican soul food restaurants. I'm telling you, they have taken over our culture, and we are going along with the bunny ride with these people. They cook Chinese food. They, and when you're trying to get authentic taste and styles of food, you're expecting a certain culture of people to cook it. Mexicans have taken it over. So yeah, that's why I'm saying martial law is about to happen up in here. Because don't underestimate California. We are a wealthy state that consists of a lot of greatness. But I believe that this administration is going to let it go down to its bottom leg before it gets back up to the top leg.
So you think they're gonna allow it to sort of sink?
Oh, they definitely will allow it to go. It's going to sink. Somebody mentioned chicken and waffles. You guys know Roscoe Chicken and Waffles got sued by a black man and lost, right? Meaning Roscoe's lost their case because the brother said he was discriminated against because of the fact that he was hiring black Mexicans versus blacks. Everybody, knows Roscoe's Chicken and Waffle. And he sued at $1.6 million that black man got off of a black man that said he wasn't really promoting black people.
Wow.
So that's how bad it is in California. I could go on and tell you more stories.
So he's comfortable hiring people that don't like him?
Oh, he don't look at it like that. It's an opportunity. They keep saying we don't work. And the fact that, when Mexicans work, they stand behind the counter. They speak Spanish. And if you're not bilingual, they don't hire you. I went to Kinko's the other day, and I got in line, and the guy was speaking Spanish. The people in front speaking Spanish, and you don't know if they talking about the Lakers game. Just having you stay in line longer. To the point, I said, "Excuse me, does anyone here speak English?" His face went. Mm-hmm. I'm like, "Why are you crooked up your face? If you speak English, that's great." "Oh no, I speak English." I said, "I am looking for people who add value in this country. I'm looking for people who understand that we are a culture of people that need to be diversified. And unfortunately, California is not that. It is marginalized by only choosing people of a specific culture of people who get more rights and more benefits than we do, and they don't even want to work with us. And when they hire us, they find ways to push us out. And that is one way is by having that language barrier."
Yeah, but he knows that by hiring Mexicans who can't speak a lick of English, you're basically getting rid of customers who probably been loyal to
No, that's not true. Because Roscoe's is catered towards a lot of tourist people. If you don't want to pass in, ain't nothing but whites and Chinese people. Black people don't eat at Roscoe's in LA that are from LA. I don't even know Roscoe's.
Don't they have Roscoe's down south like in Atlanta?
I'm not from Atlanta. I think that don't you guys have a?
That's why I was saying, don't they have like isn't it like become a franchise now?
It is a franchise, but it's also it filed bankruptcy.
Oh.
So.
But I mean, the thing is about Mexicans and working is like, look, I've worked with Mexicans. They do work hard, but they at least try to understand English. Some of them don't care about learning English, but some, no, they feel like they have to be bilingual,
Well, but you need to clarify that because now I'm not talking about Mexican Americans because I got Mexican American. I'm a licensed realtor. My broker is Mexican. I'm talking about illegal immigrants. I'm talking about El Salvadorian, Guadalajara. I'm talking about Mexicans who come here and who do not respect the law.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about straight out of Mexico. I mean, ain't been in America but a couple of years. They're older too. They're not young. They're older.
Right.
And some of them try to learn English. Some of them don't really care. They have other people speak for them. But one thing about them is that stereotype that they will work hard. They will do any job you ask them to. And I don't know if people do that to knock us as black people, but I just feel like just hire Mexicans because of their reputation. Because not every Mexican is going to work hard.
No.
Or, you know what I'm saying?
No, I understand that, but they're unskilled labor. They're clones. They come here and they learn our benefits and they learn our rights. You keep talking about work. A lot of people work off the system, honey. That's why they have all them kids so they can get a check. They're taking our tax-paying dollars so they can get the Section 8, the welfare, and they can take advantage of all the benefits that we can't use that are supposed to help American people. And I don't care if they're hardworking people. It's too many of them. Go back in your country and work hard there. We're working hard in people too. I'm not going to speak of a good of a culture that has suppressed us with unskilled laborers and unskilled skills. They come here, well, they got a couple of skills. We got a lot of skills. We've been here 400 years. This country was built on black people, off the backs of black people. We're architects, we're doctors, we're lawyers, we're a lot of things. But in California, you're doing good to find an American doctor. Forget about black. You're doing good to find an American doctor in California because the illegal immigrants and the immigrants have come here and infiltrated in our health department as well as our police and our safety. We are inundated with cultures of people that are not allowing the American culture of people, and that's black, white, whatever you are, Mexican, that are not able to do what we need to do to survive on our own merit.
Shirley, it's on the surface, it sounds good to say we as blacks, we work hard, we have skills, but there are black people who are lazy and they don't want to work. And they're not going to work unless they either have to or because they want to buy something or because they have family and friends that say, listen, man, I'll get you a job here. You know, it's just like there is a sense that there are blacks who have become complacent. When people start seeing complacency, they're going to start seeing us as a whole as complacent, even if it's just a few. But those people aren't going to work. Why should I hire them? Because I have seen this slothful attitude towards black people when I've gone into businesses, unfortunately. Like they act like they don't have to be there and shit like that. They act like they're not going to get fired, so they don't have to give you good customer service. That reputation grows and it grows, unfortunately. temptation we have as black people in America is that we're not going to work hard, we're not going to do the dirty jobs, we're not going to get our hands dirty. You know,
No, I totally,
unfortunately.
I agree with that. I think a lot of it has to do with role models. We have to look at mentorship. Who do they have to mentor? When you have generations and generations of suppressed mass incarceration, you also have to deal with mental illness. That is a major issue going on in America with black men and black women and black families. We have a lot of mental illness. We have whole black families. On my YouTube channel, I videotape a family that had 5 family members. The man had 5 children and he was black, and his wife was black, and they were homeless. He was mentally broken. And one brother came up and said, man, I got a job for you, but how can you mentally put your mind on a job when your wife and kids are homeless on the street? That's an issue. The illegal immigrants, you say they work hard because they don't assimilate. They associate within themselves. They don't even pay taxes. They use cash currency to operate. They use American cash, and they don't even have a Social Security card. And if they do, they got fake Social Security card and fake ID. They ain't paying no taxes, people. They are benefiting off of us. So the mental illness and the lack of our abilities to communicate like we used to do in the church. They used to have a hope and a faith. We got God twisted. God has become a commodity. Well, God should be a place where you have a psychological restitude of peace that is given upon you. We need to go back to prayer. We need to go back and hearing God and quiet in our mind. That's the true law of attraction. If you guys studied NLP, neurological programming, you studied the laws of attraction, you'll learn that there's a systematic substance out there to suppress us. And so then we said, well, we don't want to work. Well, I'm going to tell you why we don't want to work. It's the mentally ill. It's the law of attraction, having other people who are failing around us, and we're failing. Well, you know you're black. You know the white man don't want to handle you. We got to be white. We got to be like them. So all these people you guys watch on YouTube and you listen to, and yet are they building wealth in your life? No, they're giving you a mental breakdown of your situation. Where was the hope? Well, that whole attitude, Jay, that people say, fake it till you make it. Be hopeful. Don't be hopeless. Be grateful. Don't be greatless. I mean, these are things that we need to focus on to break through that barrier of what you're talking about. You're absolutely right. We are a culture of people who are having problems trying to get work, but we are culture people because of the mentally ill and the suppressed system that have found ways to filtrate in our mind and our spirit to keep us there.
Okay. That's another question. What do you think about welfare in Section 8 and it possibly being cut by Donald Trump?
The welfare and the Section 8 system is designed generationally to suppress us. So what you're having are people who protect it because they know no other. When that is all you know and that is how you live systematically to survive in this country, and specifically in California, there are a lot of black people who are subsidized and work because they don't know anything else, and they know that if they don't have that subsidization, they will not be able to live in the cost of living. Your debt ratio is very high in California. Rents can run between $15,000 to $2,000 to $5,000 per month compared to the Midwest or the South. Okay, it's just the reality. And so by having Section 8, it could cut down to $800 a month. You can live in an area, for example, in Pasadena, there's a complex that basically said we've got 400 units, but the state and the city has decided that they're going to allow 25% of that to be Section 8. So the same guy who's paying $2,100 a month or $2,500, you come in because you got Section 8 to subsidize, and you only pay $500 or $600 or $800. And people say, oh, that's cool. I get to live their lifestyle and yet don't have to pay that. This is the problem. You're living in a delusional world. You have thought and generationally thought that you were going to allow this system to continue to be in place. When Section 8 and a welfare system was only supposed to be a temporal situation. It wasn't supposed to be a permanent entity. And because it's becoming a permanent entity and an entity that's become part of your DNA, you know no other. and the fact that you live in a state like California where you can't even get a job to subsidize the difference of saying if you wanted to get off that system. So the Trump administration has a lot on their hand because what they're dealing with is the abuse of that system from illegal immigrants versus the people who really do need it, which is part of the black culture. So again, we're caught in a crossfire, and we're caught in a situation where we're a culture of people who are being suppressed by people who are here abusing the system. And because of that abuse, the cutoff is going to be full board across the line.
Yeah, and I really hope he addressed also the housing vouchers. With you got people who could, or women who could basically move to wherever neighborhood they want, and the government subsidize it. I mean, I hope they take care of that because you're ruining neighborhoods by doing that. Out here trying to take up for white people who live in nice neighborhoods, but you also have black people who live in nice neighborhoods, and they're gonna have a bunch of single mothers with a bunch of children moving into those neighborhoods, and they're gonna bring all that dysfunction to those neighborhoods. It's gonna bring down the property value, which the people are gonna move out that neighborhood. The neighborhood is gonna be ran down. I really hope that gets addressed as well.
Well, I think I totally agree with you on that. I wish it would be addressed. You know, the middle class in California is almost non-existent. It is the wealthy, and then the rest of us and the complete poor. And I say that because of the cost of homes. Homes can range. They're $500,000 to $1 million and up right now in California, even in some of the black communities. That's why a lot of white people are moving over into South Central and the Crenshaw area and Leimert Park area, because they're over there in droves trying to take our community back over, because that's the last stand of a home in a beautiful community that blacks have always been able to stay and hold in. We have one of the wealthiest black communities in California that is under suppression right now, that's being targeted right now. And, you know, you're dealing with a lot of cities like Pasadena where it's almost 40-50% rental versus ownership. I think whenever you invest in a city or a state, y'all need to look and see how many renters versus how many owners, because those renters aren't really real renters. They're subsidized by governmental programs of people who don't really want to work or can't afford to work because they can't find a job. I mean, it's a whirlwind of problems nationally, and this administration has a lot to do with it. But I think for our own people, if we came up with legislation and say those who are African-American children of the Chateau Slave descendants, there should be a protective right for us, so that if we are been on that system for so many years and we don't know no other out, that we need to be given a slow release versus a full cutoff.
Mm-hmm. I just I would hope that the middle class gets better, because everybody can't shoot for being rich. You know, there should be able to be a middle class of people who are making enough to live in a good neighborhood without having to break the bank to live in an expensive house, an expensive area of town. You know what I'm saying? But that's what it looks like it's becoming, especially in these super liberal cities. You know, there's just a two-class tier now. Just you either rich or you were really poor on government assistance. You know?
Right, because their agenda is to keep you suppressed. Absolutely, you're right.
Say it again.
I said, no, you're absolutely right. I can't argue with that. The system is designed under the liberal system to keep us suppressed. You know, we don't have a solution. What is the solution? People out there, you know, you're broke, you're poor, you can't get no job. The white man. Oh, what damn solution do you have? Stop telling people all them stories they already feel and know from their aunts and uncles incarcerated. They got to go visit on every Tuesday and every Sunday at 4 o'clock. Give me a damn solution and stop telling me about that. I'm tired. And you know why they ain't got no solution? Because they support the system as well. Come on. They got to keep you feeling the pain. They tap the pain versus the truth, because we all awaken to pain. Black people are good at feeling pain. Y'all love some pain. And if I talk pain all the time on my videos with this conscious blackness, I'll hear you. But when I leave, am I fulfilled? Is my cup truly full, or is my pain even more penetrated? Did you open the scar even more? Because you ain't got no solutions. You don't want to work with them. You don't like them. And you want to continue to talk about all your Afro-Central issues when you don't even really know what you are. Go get you a DNA test and tell me what you are, Negro. You true black Negro. Smoking synthetic weed. That's what y'all niggas are doing. Oh, excuse me.
Hey, ask you about corporate America's effect on people as far as social engineering and how when you look at advertisements and you look how it lowers the self-esteem, especially look at black women. I mean, your black women these days when it comes to their hair or their skin tone or who black men are dating. Do you think that corporate America and some of these other entities are trying to lower the self-esteem and browbeat into hating each other and fighting each other, or do you just think that that's an inherent problem that we just can't seem to deal with?
I think corporate America has capitalized off of the strength of the black woman and made it their agenda to make it seem like we can do it better. Black women's ass has been stolen. Black women's lips have been stolen. Black women's hair has been pushed down to be forced to be straight. We have these housewives of Atlanta and these basketball wives, and they come up there and their tits and boots and everything's all in your face, where a nice natural sister is suppressed. We don't need as much makeup as they do, but we still go along Hollywood and the consumption of the medium that has us put more stuff on. We have to put more hair on. We have to put more makeup on. We have to get alterations more and more done to our bodies. Now, don't get me twisted. I believe a sister can have pieces on her hair. I believe that we can have surgery. I believe we're beautiful people. I'm talking about a culture that has been stolen, where you have the Kardashians being looked at on as the beauty pinnacle of women. And
Mm-hmm.
that beauty pinnacle has to do with every feature of the black woman. Think about it. These are what other white women are doing. They want to look and smell and eat like us. Well, what do? They have to spend money. And where do they get the money from? Working or whatever they got to do. And who are they giving that money to? They're giving it to corporate America. Plump
Mm-hmm.
lips. Someone's getting money off of that. The surgeries, all that to look like us. We naturally are some nice, luxury, chocolate, strong black women. And as we try to lighten our skin, they trying to become darker. Recently, Kim Kardashian was attacked because she had, I guess, a photo shoot or something that made her look browner than what she really is. And black people had a fit. Y'all need to have a fit, because all they want is your men. That's all they want is your men. They want the ones that are still left that ain't incarcerated. They got a check. If a brother got a check, shit, you can forget it. The sister ain't gonna get him. Some Mexican-looking woman gonna get him, just like Kobe's wife. Those women are out to get you. They want your assets and your assets. And who makes money off of that? Corporate America. You're talking about them. Corporate America pushes that agenda. You need to say, I am the originator and the one that created it. I am the woman of all women. The melanin in your skin has so much value and fortitude, but we live in a culture that has you continue to think that it is a negative, suppressed, natural inheritance that you have been given, when it is not. You are a child of an indigenous slave. You are not. You have so much value, and you're beautiful in everything you are. And if I could say that to that sister who was crying outside in Las Vegas and some black men didn't want to dance with you, you keep dancing. Some brother gonna want some real stuff versus some ass that's gonna slip off the slide of their butt. They want some real asses. They gonna want something really to grip on. They out there, numbers game.
Now, that particular female, now she said that she was at a Chris Brown concert. I don't know how many brothers are looking for well, you say dark skinned females at that club, but you also got to look at now, Shirley, looking at certain black men. Maybe she wanted the attention of the Chris Brown looking dudes.
Oh, that's true too. Well, that's true too. And how many black people really go to Chris Brown? I can see him going to Kendrick Lamar, but really, Chris Brown right now, Chris Brown's
audience is probably 70% white or non-black.
Right. So your percentage of black men who were at that concert also were marginalized, and that we have to consider.
Right.
But something psychologically, remember I told you there's a mental illness within our country upon our people. There's a neurological programming of devaluating who we are as individuals that is out there. There's a spirit of suppression of self-worth and self-value. And so we're seeing it more and more in your generation because you guys are out of control. But if we can make you feel less than or marginalize your thought of oneself being, then we can keep you suppressed like the generation of Maxine Waters and the NAACP and a Congressional Black Caucus has done for decades.
Yeah. Last question. I don't want this to get too long. I don't want to take up too much of your time. But last question is, what can be done going forward to push logical thinking, black progressives?
Well, one thing they can do, they can definitely look me up at urbangamechangers.com, email me, and let's work together because me and Jay are going to be doing more of these. And me and Jay have the understanding that we have to come up with solutions. We need to come up with legislation, and we need to have a proposal that is united front from different social media groups that are out there. Many of you guys out there, please follow me on YouTube. Please continue to subscribe to Jay. Donate money to Jay because this is, what we do. We give our time and our love for free. We don't do this because we just say, hey, I want to be on YouTube. If you notice, I have a national platform. I was the key spokesperson for the state of California as a Black woman, and I've been involved on many political platforms. But all those connections mean nothing if we don't have a solution, if we don't have legislation, if we don't unite as individuals, putting our differences aside. I don't care about parties, but the conscious community don't have any concrete, productive solutions. They're good at tapping in the pain. It's like someone pushing on that pain, but we need to find some healing oil. We need to find some healing answers. And I think, Jay, that will come in time. I don't think it's going to happen overnight, but I think me and you working together and other conscious community people out there. I was going to say shout out to JIPI. He's always out there, got my back, and Kappa is out there, and there's a lot of you guys who've been staying on this chat room. I appreciate that. Square, I see you out there, and Young, I see you out there, and Big JX. Thank you guys, and Steak is high. I thank you guys so much for being in the chat room and listening to our agreements and our disagreements. But one thing that we can agree on, is that we have to be a culture of people that have the answers so that when we say to Mr. Trump or this administration or any administration, even after Trump, and say, look, this is what we want. What are we going to do to get this and put it on the table? And that's why I created Urban Game Changers, urbangamechangers.com. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. My name is Shirley Husar, Husar. And I thank you so much, Jay. I hope forward to having you on my show. And then we can have a discussion so I can ask you some questions from a millennial standpoint. And if any of you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me and say, Shirley, this is our issues. What can we do to get them resolved? Because talk is cheap, but action produces results.
I agree. And I put your channel in the chat room. Some people say they're already subscribing. I'll put it in the description box once this is posted. But yeah, man, we gonna do some more things together. But she gotta let me know when she do her show. I don't know. I know you already got my info, so whenever you're doing the show, you just hit me up.
Well, thank you, Jay. I definitely will do that. We'll probably do something next week, and we'll just do tit for tat and get you on my show because I think what you're doing is brilliant. I enjoy the rawness, the rawness of who you are. Because when you raw and real, people come after you. I know you don't show your face, but hey, I'm a frontliner. I'm from South Central, bitch. Come up on me. Let's do this. I ain't got no dish. I ain't hiding behind no camera. No tea, no shade of you. But I'm just like, I've been doing this so long and been feeling the pain. It's like, okay, I'll show you my scars. And I get a lot of haters out there. And I appreciate you monitoring the chat room because I don't think we should disrespect anyone's opinion, but we should at least be open to a different ideology viewpoint. Because I'm pro-black. Right. And I told you, if you got white people going to give you some money, take that money. No, I'm waiting for blacks to come in. We only 13 or 12% of the population nationally. And in California, we only have 6%. So who you think going to help us? How can you be so pro-black when you guys can't even know how to plant corn? You can't plant corn. You don't know how to shoot a gun. You don't own a gun. And if you got saw with a gun, you're going to go straight to jail. Don't pass gold. Don't collect $200. They've got monopoly set up on your ass. So, we got to create our own new monopoly board. Follow Dr. Umar and listen to him, and then take what good that you can and make it work for you. Look at Claude Anderson. Look at Michelle Alexander. I love her. She's brilliant. And follow people like me and Jaye. We're not perfect. All our answers are not the 100% on point, but we have good passion, and we're trying, and we do better with people like you watching and sharing our videos.
Yeah, shout out to Kathia. She said she's new to the channel. She liked the show.
Kathia!
Appreciate that.
And Rapper. I see Rapper out there.
These are some of the regulars. Somebody mentioned in the chat room, where's the other people at? They only show it when I have 100 on the show. They don't show it when there's like 100 watching. So, But yeah, Shirley, it's good having you on, man. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
I'll see you soon, all right?
All right. Thank you so much. God bless you.
And shout out to everybody who was watching stream that I do. And I will see y'all later, all right?